Hey there guys, and welcome back to Let's Play Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney.
Yeah, and in the last episode, we uncovered the truth of what happened to the police department. Turns out that Officer Marshall was in fact the fake Goodman that was in there, and apparently his goal was to steal the SL9 incident evidence. Unfortunately, things did not go to plan. He got caught by Meekin, so yeah, he had to fuck him up and make an escape. However, he also found out that the SL9 evidence was apparently stolen before he took it. So, and apparently, according to Edgeworth, the SL9 evidence is still missing. So it hasn't been recovered as of yet.
Nope.
And it turns out that we also found out the reason why Marshall went through all of this. Apparently, his brother was killed by Joe Darky, and he seemed to be hell-bent on wondering why it happened. Or at least how it happened. It seems that he's holding a grudge and stuff for it, or at least some kind of grudge or something. Like, he's definitely obsessed with the case and doesn't want it to die just yet. And he seems to be pointing the finger at Edgeworth or something, but we're not sure why. So right now, and also Emma came back into the courtroom, and right now we're talking again about the blood handprint in the locker on Detective Gunshoe's. So yeah, hopefully we'll figure out what that's about.
Yep. But first, we have to object.
Objection!
This handprint left at the crime scene clearly shows a contradiction.
The only thing that seems clear is your grasping, Mr. Wright.
You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them? Yes, this is strange. Take a good look at these floor plans. Something is missing.
Missing? You mean something hasn't been drawn on there?
Yeah, something when drawn will completely change the meaning of the blood mark.
Wait a minute. Wasn't the blue badger covering that locker?
Let us pray the defense isn't simply trying to buy time. Very well, Mr. Wright. With all this evidence here, there's got to be something I can use.
Take that!
What about that piece of plywood? Damn, you gotta disrespect the blue badger?
The Blue Badger, mascot of the police force. Defender of truth, guardian of proof.
Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. Yeah, the blue badger wasn't that thing blocking the locker from appearing in the camera?
Yep. Explain yourself. Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The Blue Badger is not here.
So?
So watch what happens when we put him in. This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Well, what? Oh, Edgeworth gets it.
Gas!
That's right. So long as the Blue Badger is dancing here, it would be impossible to place a handprint at this spot on the locker.
What? Holy shit, he's right!
So that means, just exactly what does that mean? It means it can't be done. What are you saying? Blood traces were undeniably found on that locker.
Mr. Wright, think it through scientifically.
Emma.
On that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the Blue Badger to the evidence room, right? After he put it down, it would be impossible to leave a handprint on that locker.
So that must mean this blood mark was left on there before the Blue Badger was brought in? Just one moment. I will not allow such a far-fetched balderdash in my courtroom. It may sound far-fetched, Your Honor, but it's the only possible explanation. On February 21st in the police department's evidence room, blood was spilled not once, but twice!
But how?
One time was captured on this tape, taken by the security camera. Officer Meekins cut his hand, from which a trivial amount of blood fell. The problem is, the other time, someone bled prior to the struggle shown on this tape. It had to have been Detective Goodman when he was really murdered.
Objection!
That's ridiculous. I refuse to accept your absurd claim.
Objection!
The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be a fake. However, that does not explain the blood mark found on the locker.
Objection!
So then, assuming this murder you purport really happened, when did it take place? I demand you show evidence that proves when it occurred.
When did the first incident occur? To summarize, the defense claims that prior to Officer Meekins being cut by Jake Marshall, who was posing as Detective Goodman, another incident took place in that evidence room. That's right. The blood mark on the locker proves this. Very well, then tell us. When did this first incident occur, as Edward said? Proof must be presented. Proof that shows when the murder took place. There's only one piece of evidence that can show that. Now then, will the defense please present its evidence? What shows when the first crime took place?
Take that!
If the crime took place inside the evidence room, then the killer would have had to enter it. And in order to do so, an ID card would have been required. An ID card. Oh, the ID card record. There's still one number that we can't figure out who it belongs to.
Yeah, because it wasn't Marshall's, because he used Bruce Goodman's ID. It wasn't Meekins or Edgeworth, because they already confirmed it. But who's 77777? Wait, that's 7 sevens?
Yep.
Huh.
Officer Meekins
that's
brought
the
the
one.
Blue Badger panel into the evidence room at, let's see here, 4:50 p.m. If the crime took place before that, then it would have been 4:40 p.m. Miles Edgeworth, just what have you done?
I never would have figured you had a nerve, boy. Drop the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure out it couldn't have been me. No, I ain't getting it.
I'm afraid I don't understand either.
It's clear from the luminal test that blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood.
That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer.
I would have had just 10 minutes to murder the victim, carrying his body away. And cleanup of the blood, unfortunately, that's physically impossible.
That would mean the crime must have taken place before Mr. Edgeworth entered the evidence room. Let's look at that chart again. Yeah, there's still one number. You haven't noticed it. There's only one other card number remaining. 77777777. Talk about a lucky number.
Talk about a lucky number.
But wait, that doesn't make sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room? Because there's no record of his card being used beforehand. He must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. Mr. Edgeworth, please look into this ASAP. Find out whose ID number is 77777777.
Come on, bro. That's
17 too many,
Your Honor. Unfortunately, I'm unable to look up the owner of that ID card. At least that's present.
What?
Explain yourself, son! Oh, wait, I forgot his voice. The ID number, that number, belongs to someone with a rank of captain or higher. Someone who is a so-called executive officer. We don't have the authority to inquire into such a person's identity.
Objection!
But that's ridiculous. Just how?
I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. There is one situation in which we can be granted such authority.
An official charge filed against an executive is accepted. An official charge?
You're all alike, aren't you? With your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's how the prosecutor's office operates. God damn! I take pride in my work, Officer Marshall. I would appreciate if you would keep your slander to yourself. Slander? Is it? Okay. Okay. Let me ask you a question, boy. Yes? No, not to you. To her. The defendant sitting over there. Your own little executive.
Lana?
Objection!
Don't be stupid. He's been charged with murder. Of course, we've looked up her ID number, and it's not 77. Fuck it, that number.
7
okay?
sevens. Yep.
Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I want to ask. All I want to know is one thing about that incident.
The SL9 incident?
Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, Did you really only use legitimate evidence?
Oh.
Do you need the witness to repeat his questions, Chief Prosecutor?
I heard him fine, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. At that time, occasionally we felt the powerlessness of the law. The powerlessness of the law. At least I did. But Lana, I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. But before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law. Defendant, just what are you saying?
I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court? Can you look me, an investigator in that crime, in the eye and say that you did?
Chief Prosecutor, you didn't. I don't have to, Officer Marshall. What?
Why won't you answer him?
Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. She's hiding something. We did what we had to do in order for him to get the verdict he deserved.
But Lana...
Even if it involved forging evidence. And she said we, so she had an accomplice.
See? That's what I'm talking about. No. No! Holy shit! They forged evidence in a court? God damn! What the fuck?
Could not be contained.
Everything is terrible right now. What the fuck is going on? Ah! When is the P3 remake coming out?
Oh my god.
Shut up, man! Stop talking about that! No!
Damn, she damn near caused a riot. What the hell? She damn near caused a riot.
Yep.
Go ahead.
All right. February 24, 3:12 p.m. Wright and Co. Law offices. I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright. I'm sorry for what my sister said.
Oh dear.
I didn't know. I never knew that the SL9 incident was just another name for the Joe Darkey killings.
Sounds like looks like everyone's heard about these killings but me.
Lana wanted Darkey convicted so badly. That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me.
What do you mean? What happened to you?
It's all in there, in the file. Your Darkey last victim was Prosecutor Neil Marshall. When he murdered Officer Marshall's brother, he left behind an incriminating piece of evidence.
But what did you have to do with those killings, Emma?
On the night of Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered, Joe Darkey tried to kill me.
What? He tried to kill you?
Officer Marshall's brother, Neil, was only trying to save me. Ah,
Oh.
he took the hit for you.
So that means you.
Yes. I was a witness in Joe Darkey's trial.
I didn't see that one coming.
Well, shit. It happened 2 years ago. I was right about this time of the year, too. There was a terrible thunderstorm that day. Unusual for the season. I was alone in my sister's office. We were planning to eat dinner together once she finished her work. Then suddenly, this terrifying man came bursting into the office.
Joe Darkey.
It seemed like he was running from someone. He pulled out a knife and screamed at me. I didn't know what was going on. Just then, Prosecutor Marshall showed up.
Jake Marshall's brother.
Joe Darkey tried to take me hostage. But before he could, Mr. Marshall tackled him. Then,
What happened?
I'll never forget it. Lightning struck and the lights went out. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, lighting up the office for an instant. What I saw then burned a permanent picture in my mind. I can still see it now.
A permanent picture?
I don't remember the moment when Darkey stabbed Mr. Marshall.
So you weren't able to testify about that?
No, I was only asked about when I was attacked. That must be why she made up the crime.
Made it up? You mean provided bogus evidence?
The prosecutor's office wanted that guilty verdict so badly. Lana forged the evidence and Mr. Edgeworth used it.
Ooh! Edgeworth was in on it? Edgeworth?
Yes, but I'm sure he didn't know anything about it. Oh, they used him. Oh, by they I mean Lana and her accomplice at the time, not Emma or. Actually, kind of think about it, Emma was also used for that too, but he couldn't have known. He was being given false evidence. Even so, that's when it all started. The rumors about Mr. Edgeworth, I mean, it's all my fault. If I could have just testified properly, none of this would have happened.
The truth. Even though he may not have known it, Edgeworth really was involved in falsifying evidence. After that case ended, Lana was never the same. Oh.
She became cold, like she is today.
She must not have been able to face up to what she did, especially not to Emma. What did you see in the instant that crime occurred?
Darkey knocked down Mr. Marshall and raised his knife.
Your Marshall was stabbed right in front of this poor girl.
I don't remember what happened after that. I passed out. When I came to, Lana was cradling me in her arms.
Poor Emma. You've been through so much.
I couldn't bring myself to testify about that instant. I tried, but the words just wouldn't come out. I drew a picture, but it wasn't any good.
2 years ago. You must have been 14. That's understandable.
Once it was all over, I made up my mind. I decided that when I grew up, I'd become a scientific investigator. I wasn't able to fight crime with my testimony, and find the evidence to make an airtight case.
That way,
Lana would never have to forge any.
Oh, I see. I think I'm finally starting to understand what makes Emma tick. But there's still something that bothers me about that crime. There's something that's still puzzling me. Emma.
What is it?
You said you were in Lana's office at that time, right?
That's right.
Why then would a serial killer come running in there? Not only that, but he was being chased by a prosecutor?
Oh, there's no mystery there. Joe Darkey had been taken in for questioning that day.
Taken in for questioning? You mean by the police?
Of course. This happened at the police department. He tried to run away halfway through the interview and fled into my sister's office.
But why did he run all the way over to your sister's office?
Because the detective's office and the questioning room are right across from the elevator.
Across from the elevator? Lana was the chief prosecutor, wasn't she?
No, silly, didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, Lana was a detective. She was the best in the entire force.
What? That's news to
Wait,
me.
So she wasn't a prosecutor? Oh yeah, the one prosecuting him was
Edgeworth.
Neil Marshall.
Or Neil Marshall, yeah.
And at least until he got murked, and then Edgeworth was the one who prosecuted him. After the Joe Darkey case, he was transferred to the prosecutor's office and made chief prosecutor.
Lana used to be a detective? I better have another talk with her. You know, that's exactly what we're going to do right now. Okay, so let's see. Yep.
All right. February 24. Detention Center. Visitor's room. Lana.
Mr. Wright, seems I keep causing you trouble. Yeah, you do.
I mean, no shit, bruh. You almost started a riot in the courtroom.
Falsifying evidence? I didn't think you were the type. Criminals don't mind playing foul. Why should we?
But Lana, if you're wrong, an innocent person might be found guilty.
Believe me, I understand the risks. Lana, Emma told me about you.
In other words, she said, fuck them.
Oh? I know about how you were a detective 2 years ago. And how the SO9 incident was the reason for your transfer to the prosecutor's office. That's right. Could you fill me in on the details, especially about that unusual change of jobs? Oh, she don't want to talk about it. Alright, suppose you have a right to know, Mr. Wright.
Ah, damn. Sad music.
A lot of revelations were uncovered at the trial today. Not the least of which was the fact that this case is largely connected to another 2 years ago. Evidence from that case was stolen as well, though I expected as much. I know how obsessive Officer Marshall can be. That trial,
it really wasn't a fair, was it? I believed in you, Lana. I believed that no matter what happened, you'd always stick to the truth.
It couldn't be helped, Emma. At the trial 2 years ago, I sold my soul.
Man, that security guard right there, he's probably like, man, should I really be listening on this shit? Damn!
Well, all drama aside, the fact of the matter is, in fact 15 there was no murder at the police department.
Tell me, it's not true, Lana. What witness Mrs. Starr said about you stabbing Mr. Goodman with a knife?
Uh-oh.
Lana, I don't understand. Why would you tell us?
Emma. This doesn't involve just me. Okay, that she just confirmed. Yep, there is an accomplice.
Yeah, so there is someone else here that we don't know about.
I don't think I've ever seen Lana look so phased before. It's true. I was a member of the police force 2 years ago.
She was amazing.
Damon Gant?
They still talk about all the cases she and Chief Gant cracked together.
Chief Gant? He was the deputy chief of police back then, but he still worked at the crime scenes. Damon Gant, he was everything I aspired to be.
They were the best team ever. They solved crimes before the reports could even be filled.
Emma really idolizes her big sister. But now you're chief prosecutor. What happened? I always planned on becoming a prosecutor. The reason I became a detective was
To gain experience in investigating crime scenes, so you could use that experience in court, right?
Gant's help in the SL9 case was crucial to its resolution. After that, he became chief of police and arranged my transfer to the prosecutor's office. Maybe I should ask more about this investigation of theirs 2 years ago. Two years ago, I was second in command of the detectives investigating Darky. Second in command? That means the investigation lead was Damon Gant, right? Yes, Deputy Chief Gant and I shared the same office and the same investigations. They even had the same office. We led a team of the best detectives on the force. Ah, the four. These four. Detective Goodman, whose case it was, Jake Marshall, and Angel Starr. It was the first time Marshall worked with his brother. He was quite gung-ho. Without a doubt, Joe Darky was the serial killer. We asked him to come in for questioning. We were desperate for evidence. That was when his final murder took place. When he tried to murder Emma. Prosecutor Marshall was trying to save me from Dargay. You see, the first person who happened upon the scene of the crime was me. Now you tell us. Damon Gant and Neil Marshall were the ones questioning Darkey that day. The investigation was in its final stages, and Darkey must have suddenly panicked. So he waited until Gant and Marshall let their guards down, then fled the room. From there he ran straight to the office shared by Deputy Chief Gant and myself.
That's where he found me.
So you were the first person to run to the scene, Lana? It appears so. I was filing some papers while Gant and Marshall questioned Darkey. Oh. When I returned to my office,
Vacunaron.
I saw 3 bodies on the floor and smelled blood. Oh, damn. A knife right in the back. 3 bodies? Prosecutor Marshall, the victim Emma, who had passed out, and the suspect Joe Darkey. During the stroke, it seems Mr. Marshall struck a final blow before he died. Joe Darkey had incurred a minor concussion and laid unconscious. What did you do? To be honest, I panicked. Picked up Emma, carried her out of the room, and just held her. Can't blame her. After all, her sister must have gone through. After that, I placed Darkey under immediate arrest. Let me get this straight. You were all involved in the SL9 incident? That's right. Coincidence, I don't buy it.
What are you saying?
There's no way everyone involved in this trial was also involved in that incident. Just by chance.
But the case was solved 2 years ago. Yeah. With false evidence. My boy.
Officer Marshall, yes, his actions came as a surprise to me as well. Ever since his brother died, he's changed completely.
I guess he wasn't convinced with the ruling against Joe Darkey.
Life doesn't end with the closing of a case. Everyone has to live with the rest of their lives with their memories. That case just might not be over yet. And was assaulted by Darkey by the police department, right? Yes, in the office that Damon Gant and I shared. The office that Mr. Gant now occupies by himself. The chief's office. Maybe we should have a look at the chief's office. At the scene of the final SL9 murder. Oh, wait, no, I had the right idea, damn it.
February 24, prosecutor's office, underground parking lot.
No one's here today, not even Miss Starr.
Everyone's probably busy looking into what exactly went down in the evidence room. That must be where the detectives are.
But we proved in court on the day of the crime, no one was murdered in the evidence room at 5:15 p.m.
Yeah, I thought we were finally making some headway in our case.
But instead, it looks like we just ended up making Lana look even more guilty.
Hang in there, Lana.
I've got to find all the answers by tomorrow. Okay, let's move.
February 24, police department entrance. Hi, Professor. Howdy, Bambina.
Oh, Mr. Marshall.
Mr. Marshall. I never thought things turned out this way when I woke up this morning. ¿Qué será? You never know where life will lead you, eh, Bambina? I should have known my luck had run out when old Billy dried up this morning.
Billy? Must be his pet cactus. Say, where are you headed?
Just over to the prosecutor's office for a little interrogation. It's a voluntary appearance, but we all know I won't be coming back. Sorry, but you can't go into evidence room today, partner. But, Mr. Marshall, why did you do it? Why do prospectors head west? If ever there was a case, I needed to know the truth about it. It was that one.
Before you turn yourself in, Mr. Marshall, would you mind telling us exactly what happened?
Looks like I won't be getting my steak lunch today. Ah, so he's agreed to talk. Something was fishy about that trial from the beginning. And it wasn't because that barman stunk. It wasn't just me either. All the detectives thought so.
What do you mean, fishy?
Some of the facts reported were inconsistent with the evidence we found. For example, the murder weapon.
The murder weapon? You mean the switchblade knife with the broken tip?
That was Joe Darkey's, all right. But in the initial autopsy report, a question was raised. A question? The blade of the knife was not a perfect match with the wound the victim sustained.
What does that mean?
It means there is a good chance that knife was not the murder weapon.
Yeah.
However, in the report that was finally submitted, that possibility had been erased.
Could the facts have been concealed with forged evidence?
That case was left behind scars on all of us. The scars that the SL9 incident left behind. I got the looks, but he got the brains. He was one of the best prosecutors around. I had just made detective when it went down. It was our first case together. And unfortunately, it was also your last.
How old is he? Your brother. Go ahead.
Yeah, he already read it, so. He was 27 at the time. He was awarded the highest honor that very day.
The highest honor? You mean the...
King of prosecutors.
I knew it.
What are you looking at me like that for? That's an honor for a prosecutor.
Mr. Marshall must have really been close with his brother.
The day the SL9 incident took place, that wasn't the same day as... That's right. It was the day of the evidence transfer.
Interesting.
It was drizzling that morning, and by nightfall, there was thunder. I can't believe 2 years had gone by already. I tried to steal the evidence so the case wouldn't die. But some varmint got to it before I did.
Apparently someone tried to stop you. Detective Goodman was murdered, and the evidence locker was empty.
Yeah, that's what happened, boy. There was something going on behind the scenes in that case. We all knew that later. Every detective involved in that investigation, save one, was taken care of. Mrs. Starr was fired, and I was demoted and boxed away in a tiny room.
What about Detective Goodman?
If they did something to him too, the commissioners would get suspicious. No, they were careful enough not to be too obvious.
They?
Who are you talking about? Don't get upset, Bombina. I mean Damon Gant and Lana Sky. The investigation led Damon Gant and his second-in-command, Lana Sky. There wasn't a person on the force who hadn't heard of that duo. That case was the biggest step in both of their careers.
After the case ended, Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office, right?
Yeah, Damon Gant, the new chief of police, arranged for that to happen.
She's
never been the same since she left. Everyone who knew her said so. Chief Prosecutor Sky was totally different when she was a detective.
Now that he mentions it, Emmett said something like that too.
Tell me, what happened to my sister? Sorry, Bambina, but her secret is too well guarded. I never found out.
Not a secret. It all started 2 years ago.
So, there you have it. That's my story. Did you enjoy it, partner?
It was certainly enlightening.
There's one thing for sure I found out in court today. That boy Edgeworth isn't my enemy. He was the one who used falsified evidence to get a guilty verdict. But someone else was the one who gave him that evidence and planned everything. That someone is Damon Gant.
What?
Don't believe me? Well, I don't blame you. I won't even be a patrolman after today. Too bad. I won't be around to work with you when you become a real scientific investigator. Adios, Bambina. And with that,
He's
he's
gone.
gone.
And he's going to be gone for quite some time. All right, let's go ahead.
And yeah, they're gonna put him away after the shenanigans he did, but damn.
All right, I think we're going to go ahead and end it here. So, next time on Let's Play Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, I think for the next place we have to go to, I believe it's the police department. Let's see, the criminal affairs. I think that's where we have to go next. And we still have to look at Damon Gant's office.
Yeah. He's got some questions he needs to answer.
Yep, he does. But until then,
especially since Marshall seems convinced that Edgeworth wasn't the one he was aiming at.
It was Damon Gant. Apparently he gave Edgeworth falsified evidence.
Since it seems like Edgeworth was just somewhat manipulated by someone.
He was a pawn.
Yep.
That's what we're going to try to uncover in the next episode. So, until then, thank you guys so much for watching this, and we will see you next time.
Adios, amigo.